Mauri ora ki te rangi, mauri ora ki te whenua, and nau mai ki haukainga. We're here, we're doing it. Ki ngā motu e te whānau. We are in Taranaki and we are talking to our people. We have these beautiful special guests with us today. Nō reira, we're going to hear their voices, not mine. Ka tīmata tātou, ko wai koe, anō nei, nō hea koe ki tēnei tā.
Tēnā koe, Sophia, ko Evelyn Henare tōku ingoa, ki te taha tōku pāpā, ko rangi puta te maunga, ko awaro te awa, ko te kotahitanga te marae, ko Ngāti Haua te hapu, ko Māmari te waka. Ko Māmari te waka, ai, ko Evelyn Henare tōku ingoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Sophia, ko Janelle tōku ingoa. Tarai o rahiri te maunga, Mangkahia te awa, tarai o rahiri te marae, ngā toki mata whauru, te waka.
E mihana. And you know, you two are like two peas in a pod because you're already going, maunga, it's your maunga. So we're here, we're having yarns together because we are in the mix of, the beginnings of Te Matatini, but let's just leave that on the side for now. Let's talk about you two. Kapa haka, where did it begin for you both? I te puku, I te whānautanga mai.
I suppose like for me, I don't know a beginning because it just was. It just is.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got dragged around to different places at the marae, got dragged to Waitangi. You didn't know what you were doing, but, you know, years later, that's what it was.
Yeah. You just did it because that was part of what your whānau and your lifestyle was, I suppose, back in those days. Until you got a bit older and you start realising, okay, there is something that happens here. Oh my God, we have a rōpū.
Magic happens.
Magic happens.
Oh, you two have been in the kapa haka scene, mai rāno, before my birth whānau. But you know, first kapa rōpū that ever started in whangarei te ringa prawa, ko wai rātou. And give us a backstory of how the magic happened to go, oh, now we have a rōpū.
Gee, I suppose the first rōpū in whangarei that I know and was aware of was Te Rōpū Parahaki.
Yes.
There could have been some before that, but that's the one that I'm aware of. So that was
Alice Spring.
Yeah, and her husband Terry.
Terry Spring, who was our hikere tari for WCC for a couple of years there.
Yeah, for a few years.
Yeah, for a few years.
Yeah. And then things evolved. The whānau evolved, you know, the whānau that were with different rōpū. And we had Te Rōpū Te Whitu. That was a rōpū that was started by Auntie Nan and Uncle Barney Hemera for the huiāranga. We used to take 3 groups from whangarei for a number of years, and they still participate in that now.
And whangarei te ringa parawa had one back in the days too. That was with the ruka whānau from Kaukoia, remember? Yeah, and they actually went into whakataitai one time back in the days.
Wow, neat.
And I suppose for us it would have been takido that would have sort of cemented, you know, we were older. We were older and had kids and so everybody we were all doing the same thing together, you know, like a rugby team, like a netball team, or we had a kapa haka team. So
Takido was it for many, many years. And from them came out of Takido came
Tarai o Rahiri.
Te tarai o rahiri.
What was another one that came out of there? Te Arahi came out of Takido.
Yeah. Who else was there? Manaya. Same performers. Yeah. They had different rōpū.
Different whānau connections.
Yeah. and then we had timatanga.
Yes.
And then from there came a lot of groups as well.
Yeah.
You know, different ones branched out. So we had performers that are now in Hātia.
Yep. Muri
Whenua. Puao.
Yes, Puao.
Yeah, so all the groups have been connected in some way or another in the north.
Yeah. And back then at that regionals, most of the groups at that time from around Whangarei decided that they had the whakaaro that we want to take one good team. One good team. So to take one good team, you have to have one good team to go in the regionals to, whakataitai. And there was a lot of names back in the day. I suppose there was Taurahiri, something that could join us together. A few other names, can't think of what they were, but that whakaaro was that we in Tai Tokerau, we had the goods. We had it. We knew we had it. Of course we had it. So we thought that we could, if we can band all those talented people from different groups to form one super group, wow, wouldn't that be fantastic? But as ture and rules and regs define whakataitai, that never ever came to be. And, these are the rules that you see now, cutting you, stay in your rohe. If you're unsuccessful, you can't perform for another rōpū, So, we've got heaps of our whānau at home that, that should be on the atamera, that should be performing, but they can't, because of a ture. Silly to me. That's my thoughts anyway.
No, that's right.
So it's evolved from there and it's just growing. I mean, we're on, what generations would we say that we're into now from ourselves?
2, 3, 4.
4 generations that are performing now from, from our, just us, just within our own whānaus.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're still there.
Yes, you are.
We're still
you are.
active kaimahi within our whakataitai kapa haka, because back in the days, you wouldn't believe how we used to operate. You wouldn't believe it. So, we had this little triumph car, I suppose you could call it. And back in the days, WCC is the Waitangi Cultural Committee Society, Incorporated Society. You had to become an incorporated society. Back in the days, no one was an incorporated society, but when Atom Pass and Te Matatini came in, all the groups, they've got to become an incorporated society, because back in the day, you'd be lucky if you had $100.
You never had money.
You used our babies, kind money to pay for the hall that you were using to practice, or the marae that you were at. But,
Yeah, you had to become an entity so we could apply for funding.
Yeah.
But, we've done we did years of carting chairs.
Yeah. Borrowing 500 chairs so we could have a whakataitai.
Yeah.
Borrowing everything because we had nothing.
Yeah.
To today, which I'm glad, what I can see today is that we have money for the venues, whatever kiwas that we need to have to host these events. It's lovely to see. But for us, it's also from the struggles and what we had nothing. We absolutely had nothing to what it is today. I think it's awesome for our performers. And I suppose back in those days, our number one person was that performer, not anybody else, not anyone else.
Especially for our rōpū in the north, it's an easy 150,000 a campaign.
More. More.
Uniforms, venues, training, transport. And back in the day we used to fight for $2,000 towards the bus. You
wouldn't even get a seat on the bus for that amount of money today. Goodness me. Yeah, exactly. But what else are we talking about?
It has evolved and some things are good, but it's just getting too big now. And for us in the north, well, for Evie and I, every rōpū that comes out of the north are winners, no matter what.
Yeah.
And because we know them, we know who they are, we know their parents, we know their grandparents, we know their kids. And it's like, good on you fellas.
And I think as leaders, we've been through that. So as a leader, you've got to be a doctor, you've got to be a counsellor, you have to be the Bank of New Zealand. You haven't got 2 cents to rub together, but you have to be the Bank of New Zealand. And that's about knowing your whānau within the rōpū, guidance counsellor. I'm a really good guidance counsellor, all right? if you're divorced, if you're married, if you want a relationship, I can help you there because we've had years of experience. But, you know, to me, those are just natural whānau, motherly things that you would do. Hey, it's natural. And I wonder if that is still happening today for our kaihaka that are in these rōpūs today. Because, by geez, we knew how hard it was.
You know, we still mahi now. We say we're active life members because we still participate. We've participated.
There's 3 life members.
Yes, there is.
Me, Janelle, and Auntie Lizzie Markine. We are the 3 life members of the Tai Tokerau.
Yeah. So we were made life members in 2008.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think I'm 47 years, or might be 48 years this year. Yeah. Doesn't seem that long though. You can remember yesterday, sort of, you know, performing at Rotiri Marae in front of the whare. Those were the days. That was in the 70s. We used to go up there and
performing at Waitangi back in the days.
Before we went off to...
What was the name of the whare, but it got burnt down?
Was that Tahuna?
Tahuna. So the backdrop that Uncle Heck did in 1990, after the 1990... Atom Pass, I think it was Atom Pass, Māori Performing Arts, it went to sit in Tahuna. And it was burnt down, of course.
Oh, wow.
So
because that's where we used to hold our kapa haka there.
Yeah, on the veranda.
On the veranda of Tahuna.
That's where we used to perform on there.
Yes, because there's a whole nother set of taonga, kapa haka taonga, that belongs to
our committee.
Our committee that is for the Waitangi cultural competitions.
And so those competitions were stopped in 1990 because they held the Atom Pass in February. Atom Pass used to be held in October.
For those who don't know what Atom Pass is, can we please just explain the acronym?
Aotearoa Māori Performing Arts.
Which was called that before Te Matatini. Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are into nakawhiti at the moment, a lot of CrossFitters out there. Not that I'm saying that's the reason why they go up and down 20 million times through their poi, but, you know, our whānau are quite flexible. They're very flexible. Not that I could do it up and down 5 times. My knee's already hecked. But, you know, one thing I love seeing is kapa pushing the boundaries within reason.
What do you mean pushing the boundaries?
Well, we went from swinging the poi.
Oh, yes.
To,
let's innovate to be innovative. I like that. It's great.
Yeah, innovation is
that grows. But how long does it grow? Eh? How long?
The other thing is too...
As long as the string nubjects.
Yeah. The other thing is too, you know, I suppose for us, we see some of the performers now, even at secondary school level, even now babies, you know, they'll take a stance and it's like, oh, why are you standing like that? You know, what's the purpose? Why are you girls doing that haka stance? And, you know, they're just primary kids, even the secondary. I mean, I know they do it, but for us in the Tai Tokerau, that's just happened, I suppose. It's only happened in the last few years, where they've taken on a stance like... And for me, I think it just loses that femininity and softness within our kids, because they got plenty of time to do that sort of stuff when they get on the big stage. But even our senior rōpū, is there a reason you women need to haka like that? Some of them go lower than the men. And it's like, okay.
That's interesting, eh?
Yeah. But I mean, you know, evolution, I suppose.
And, you know, when you talk about how healthy and how water and, you know, for us surviving to feed your rōpū, that's what it was. I mean, my husband, he was a true believer. Men, they need a hearty meal. They need 3 solid meals at a noho marae. And I'm talking, eat. You can eat. And you haka afterwards. If you can't haka, well, too bad. But, you know, feed the men. Feed them.
Yeah.
Eh?
Wow.
Which I think you're not allowed to eat much today. Hey, it's all, there's no fat, there's no healthiness there. It's just, yes, but, you know, those are the things. He tino rereki tēnei wā, I suppose, but thoughts. Yeah.
And saying that, I've been watching some of my mete on social media. They've been doing their bags, right? They've been packing their bags. They've been essentials. This is what I need. So if we think about giwas, What did your prep look like in terms of gears?
Okay. 5 boxes of black vivids. 10, 20 of those $2 black eyebrow pencils. That was it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's a lot. That's
That's
it.
That's all you needed.
Wow.
That was all you had.
Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't have stencils back then.
No,
too,
you
eh?
drew.
You drew freehand.
Freehand,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. Our girls used to have
The vivid was used for the men.
Mm.
Never come off, of course, because we didn't have anything to take it
Yeah,
off back in those days.
no sore feet.
You wouldn't be wanting
You
to kiss
just
the
wore
wrong
it till it
person.
come off or rub the hell out of your face, and it was all okay. But yeah, but I have seen what they have these days. It's like
flash.
beautiful.
You have the roller, stencil roller,
Yeah.
bit of ink, and then
Yeah,
boom.
none of that.
Yeah,
It's just free draw.
You got up at 4 o'clock. Your performance wasn't until 2, but you're up at 4
Yes.
and you start.
Yeah.
And away you went.
You know, I think I do recall those days still in my, young time at
Yes.
Tura. The free hands. That was pretty cool though. That's quite talented to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think Matatini did most of ours though.
Pretty much.
For the
yeah.
boys anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You had all the gears, and then we were in Te Ara here, and I think we went into the green pencils, and that was like,
Wow, and they had to try and find them.
Find the green.
And he knew to it.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Shiseido,
God.
Shiseido
They weren't
green.
your $2 pens
No.
either.
Go get your black lipstick green. Couldn't get that.
You couldn't get black lipstick.
Yeah.
All the right shade, because then they'll have like a too glossy and then a not dark enough.
Now, the nails, the eyebrows,
Beautiful lashes, beautiful.
Stunning, eh?
Stunning.
Stunningly
Alice,
expensive.
what do you call those things? Straightener curlers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh? All
Yeah.
those. Beautiful. And they look
know.
lovely.
They do.
They look
do.
lovely.
So when Mirirangi was made, Uncle Hick made that for the 88 backdrop.
That's correct.
And it wasn't until recently, and maybe about 5 years ago, that it finally
Surfaced?
Well, no, we replaced it. We wanted something that we could identify our own rohe in terms of backdrop. So that was carved by Korotangi, I think.
Oh, yes.
Korotangi.
Yes.
Yeah.
He remade it.
Yes. And so that's used in all our comps now for the babies and the seniors.
Yes.
And so that backdrop, that tonga,
The backdrop.
yeah, was he also made some tonga. So in 88 he made 3 tonga
3 well-bone tonga.
of that backdrop for his wife, Auntie Hilda, and for Doreen Moringa
And Hedewai Conrad.
Hedewai Conrad. Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, for those women. And then years down the track, I think we've had them for a little while.
Oh,
eh?
we've had them for.
He made one for myself, Evie, and Karen Williams. So we're very lucky to have had those, and we know where our whale beached. We know who was there to do the whale when it came out. We tell the story. We know who carved it. He was pretty blind when he did Auntie Karen's one. His is a little bit bigger than ours, but it's lovely.
Yeah, it is lovely.
It is lovely. Yeah, even though they're all the same, they're different. And that, so we're quite fortunate that we've got those tonga because and the stories that go with it, and because Uncle Hick was with us all the way from way back from the 70s all the way through all the rōpū.
Yeah.
And
he travelled.
Yeah.
He was real, like he travelled with the rōpū.
Wow.
He was the first life member for Te Matatini. Before they had life members, he was the first one.
Yeah.
And so since his passing, we haven't had a Tai Tokerau life member then.
No. Another one that was a strong advocate that not many people knew was Pita Praone.
Yeah.
He was our hemana for many, many years. And even though he never affiliated himself to any rōpū, by gosh, he was the best chairman you could have ever asked for.
He'd go and find us some
He was
money.
never connected to any group, but he knew ture, he knew rules, he knew processes that we had to follow, all that sort of stuff. But he was great value.
So in saying that, so thinking about those were the past or even present, what has been the best advice given to you as a kaihaka, or have you given advice to a kaihaka?
We love what we see. You know, we love what we can see today. We love what our mokos and our nieces and nephews are doing and, you know, working with their rōpū. We love it. You know, why would you want to burst a bubble? You know, that's just my own thoughts.
It's right.
Like at the last regionals before they come here, a lot of the whānau said, "Oh, what did you think, Auntie?" And I said, "Look, boy, I was really, really proud of you." You know, what do you say? I said, what did I say to them? I said, "I'm really, really proud of you fellas. And you've really, it's something different." But we never said anything to what's the word?
Discourage or
discourage. We always said, "Well," but after they left, you know,
useless.
You should have, you know, if that was me, but we should have, but we didn't. But
no,
for us, it was so proud of you. You did really well. It's not an easy job to just take a team like that. We know it's not easy. For us, it's like, ate wā, they'll learn those things. You know, we can't say to them, no, you should have tried it this way. You should have, because they've got their own whakaaro and we have our own whakaaro. But for us, our main thing is to support them and say, "I'm so proud of you. Did a great job, boy. Keep it up." Hey, those will come later. You can't just expect to be a leader of a group, you know, 5 minutes and you're in. You know, you're the best leader. It takes time. It takes commitment. You know,
trust
when you start, you're not even a leader. You don't even know what that word means. You know, back in the day, my mother-in-law said to me, "Go on you." And I remember one of our Awanuiarangi studies, they said, you know, what was the process when you became a leader of your rōpū? Did you have this and this and this? And I said to Nelsie, "No, we just have to hui at the marae." And Ma said, "You're going to do it now, all right?" And that was it.
That was it.
But there was these other ones that they said that this big process that they had to go to do this, and then they became the leader. It was so hard case. But yeah, no, we are so proud of all of our kids, of all of our leaders. And I tell you one thing that I really, really have liked in regards to the Tai Tokerau kapa haka, and that was the Maiangi festival that Chris did up in Muriwhenua.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. To me, that is what Te Matatini Ngāpuhi Nui Tonu looks like.
I love it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You had marae, you had hapu, you had rōpū hahi. You know, I saw some of my whanangas and I'm thinking, "Oh wow!" But they were there. There's so many.
Yeah.
It was
It was good.
It was an awesome weekend and
an awesome job.
And it was all non-competitive, and that was the thing. But
they all went away winners, eh?
They were all winners.
Yeah.
That was a highlight for me, I suppose, for the whole of the Tai Tokerau was that mahi that Chris and Sandra worked on to deliver for the whole of the Tai Tokerau, especially Muriwhenua, was a winner.
Yeah.
And like that, aunties, we're going to finish on that highlight.
Beautiful.
Because we can sit here, and I know you've got so much to feel with our whānau.
And we've got to go.
I think we all have dates, not cancelled. Oh, no. But, you know, e mihi ana kia korua, you know, for having the time to come have this kōrero, because it's the aunties like you who have been through it or seen it, or they can share back what it was like before my time, that's for sure. And to know that we are very fortunate today to have what we have, and the driving forces, of course, you do, behind a lot of our kapa back home.
We don't know everything. You know that, eh, Sophia?
I didn't say you knew everything.
I'm just saying.
You knew a lot of things. Nō reira, mihi ana kia korua. Thank you so much for joining us.
Tēnā koe, Sophie. Kia kapai.